Welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson. Thanks for joining us. Our topic today is how believers can help those people who are struggling with addiction. My guest is Adrienne Bumpers. She is the campus director of the Potter's House, which is a Christian-based recovery center. Adrienne, thank you so much for being with us today.
Lori, thank you for having me.
The Potter's House really does sound like a wonderful place. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Absolutely. First and foremost, it is a wonderful place. I love it. The Potter's House is a program of Atlanta Mission. Our organization's mission is to transform lives through Christ of those facing homelessness, poverty, and addiction. And so the Potter's House, located not in Atlanta, just north of Atlanta, about 60 miles, close to a city called Jefferson. It is a men's addiction program, and we have been providing services since 1967.
How is the Potter's House funded?
We receive funding from donors, individual donors, foundations. We do get grants, and we actually just recently received a federal grant this year.
You say it's a men-only thing. About how many men are there at any given time?
Yeah, today I can tell you that we have 132 men on campus. We're one of the largest facilities in the state of Georgia for addiction recovery, and that's a lot of guys that we're serving right now.
And how long do the guys typically stay there?
Yes, so when you come to the Potter's House, you typically are going to commit a year of your time into our program. What it looks like is that commitment. The first 6 months of your time within our program is going to be a learning phase where you're going to get a chance to go take a lot of classes, to unlearn some things, to learn some new things. Those classes would focus on opportunities for learning about your addiction, learning what's happening with your brain. It also will be a chance where you get to take some Bible study classes. You might learn some better coping skills for your recovery, and you work with an interdisciplinary team. We have a counselor, an advocate, or a peer in recovery, and then a social worker who wraps around each client and is doing one-on-one sessions and works together to steward the first 6 months of a client's journey. And then guys will transition to the second phase of the program. I like to call it the phase where you're going to apply what you've just learned. And guys will transition to finding a job. They will work that job for the remainder of their year, and they will start to engage in the community. They will work on going to recovery meetings, obtaining a sponsor. They might be reconciling some relationships with family members or loved ones, and they will follow a budget and save money, and will really have a chance to practice a lot of things while doing all of those activities so that they can ultimately be rooted in community, that they can retain their employment in order to find secure housing and transition out of our program successfully.
It sounds really well thought out. What type of a success rate do you guys experience at the Potter's House?
This last fiscal year, our success rate was around 24%. And that number sounds pretty low, but within this work, it's actually pretty high. So we celebrate every success that we have within our program. And even though somebody might not finish our program, what happens is you still get to learn a lot. So we have heard back from some people that maybe didn't make it through our entire process. They have found success on their own because they did apply some of the principles that we were able to teach them too. And so we, again, celebrate all of that success that happens here.
What types of addictions are these fellas struggling with?
All kinds. We see alcoholism, of course. We definitely see all substances being used. So take your pick. You've got opioid use, you've got methamphetamine. We have people that use marijuana so heavily that it's disrupted things in their life, and they've come to us for help. There's still crack cocaine use. There's cocaine use, heroin use. We also see the majority of the guys that we serve, they have used multiples of those substances and even more. I mean, there's new drugs that are coming on the market all the time. It's ever evolving. And so we see people that are struggling with all of it.
So how does a person become accepted to the Potter's House?
Because of where we're located in a rural environment, it's not a place that you just drive up to and get dropped off at. So, what happens is we have a website, we have an online application, and we need you to apply to kind of tell us that you're interested. Once you apply, there will be a phone interview scheduled, and we use that phone interview as our screening tool to determine eligibility. Of course, there's people with extremely high needs that we can't serve, and there are people that might not qualify for the services that we offer. And what we do with anyone that we can't serve is we will refer them out to other entities so that they can get help that they need, since they were raising their hand and asking us for help. And then for anyone that we accept, we do weekly intake. Every week we are bringing in new guys. And so sometimes you have to wait because we have a lot of applicants that are interested in our services, but that is a process in order to access what the Potter's House offers.
It sounds like they have to live there for just about a year. So what about people who have families, wives and children?
So that is absolutely something that we assess in that intake screening, that phone screening, because if you have a stable home environment, but you are needing help with addiction, maybe an outpatient program might work for you. And so we want to refer people if we might not seem to be the best fit for you. But some people are at the point where they know that they really need the life change that our program offers. And so they will dedicate that year. They will decide, okay, I will leave my family life and I will come into this program in hopes that they will end and complete the program and be able to go back home a different man.
Sure. I mean, I can imagine a lot of families, wives and children, wives especially, would welcome that type of treatment plan if their husband needs it that badly. What type of visitation is there for wives and children?
Yes, so we do offer family visitation a couple times a year. We also have kind of a support for phone calls and video chats while somebody is in the program so that they can stay connected. We also offer family counseling with our counselors so that a supportive family can kind of walk alongside their loved one here while doing some work, because addiction has not just impacted the individual that comes into our program. It has absolutely impacted their entire community around them, however large or small that is. And when somebody comes into our program and they start having life change, that often does not mean that their community around them has changed yet. And so we want to be able to try to create some connection so that happens. Now, once a client is working, they are able to go offsite on pass. So they're able 2 times a month to go home, visit with their family, and start working on what it would be like to get ready to transition back home.
It seems like it's a very methodical, gradual transition back into regular life, and that is so important, to not just be in a facility and then just released into the wild, as it were. It's a fantastic rehab center that you're running there, Christian-based. We're going to take a break and be right back with Adrienne Bumpers. She's the campus director of the Potter's House in Georgia. Stay with us. Welcome back to Healthy Living. We are talking with Adrienne Bumpers, who is the campus director of the Potter's House, which is a Christian-based recovery center in Georgia. It is inpatient, and it is located out in the wilderness, out in the country, where you are exposed to nature. It's very, very beautiful. How important is it that the men who are staying there have access to nature?
Oh, I believe it's terribly important. I think the foundation of recovery, you need to have peace within yourself. And so, for our environment, of course, we're located on a 550-acre farm. We have pastures as you drive into the property. We have state of the art buildings that offer direct services. And our facility, when you walk outside, you hear the birds chirping. You can see the beauty of the trees and the pastures. You might experience some wildlife. We've got cows that are on the property, and of course, all kinds of other creatures that are around. We also have a pond, so our guys get a chance to go fishing while they're with us. The environment is very quiet, it is peaceful. And it's conducive for the opportunity for recovery. You know, if you can imagine taking a year off of your life to work on yourself, which is honestly what many of our guys are doing when they come into our environment. It's just beautiful and peaceful and restful and gives them an opportunity and space to be able to heal and to rebuild their lives.
When you talk about being able to talk with a social worker, to learn, I love the part that you talked about education, learn what addiction is all about. I wanted to ask you a question. When people engage in some sort of addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, pornography, there are so many different things, even shopping or whatever.
Yeah.
When people are engaged in an addiction, is this some sort of way to cope with something that happened in their childhood?
Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot of research early on before we offered or started to offer the current model of services that we do. And from that research, we learned that over 80% of our clients had some type of traumatic experience in their life. And oftentimes, for the guys that come to the Potter's House, that traumatic experience was the precursor to why they started using in the first place. I've heard story after story. That may not be every case, but I definitely have heard that it is the majority of the case. And not only have they had one traumatic experience, but many have often had co occurring traumatic experiences in their life. And so it is terribly important to really understand that the addiction is really the symptom of what has happened in someone's life, and it's a poor coping mechanism. The problem with substances in this way is that our brain starts to respond due to chemical reactions in our brain when we drink alcohol, when we use marijuana, or any of those other substances. Our brain is starting to change, and we often start to become dependent on that feeling and the reaction that's happening in our brain. And so it will start to change to where we're so dependent that that's the most important thing in our life, and everything else takes a backseat. And so it's really important for the work that we do to address and attack the root cause. Why did somebody start using in the first place, so that we can help you learn and start to heal in the process. Another thing that I think is vitally important with the style in which our program is designed, to have a year where you can be free from using, your brain will actually start to heal. But it takes almost a full year, if not longer, depending on how much you've used in the past, to have your brain heal in a way where it starts to develop new coping strategies when you experience stress or when you might experience something else traumatic in the future. And so we absolutely want to make sure that we're addressing the root causes through the approaches that we offer.
How do you deal with men who are going through withdrawal? That must be extremely painful for them, and they probably would love to resort to any means to get whatever they want.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, we want safety to be a priority. And so, if you just recently used, and we do a drug screen when you initially come to our property for your intake, we absolutely will ensure that if you need to go to a detox facility, because we do not offer detox at our facility, we will refer you to a facility close by. And then once that time is completed, so that a physician can oversee that withdrawal process, then you can come back into our program. What I will tell you is that there are some substances that do not require a physician's oversight. And so you can't get assistance with that within a detox facility. So we do see guys as they come in who maybe recently used and they are going through that process of withdrawals and they feel wrong. They do. And they're questioning a lot of things. It is very challenging for your first week in our program and your first 30 days in our program, just because to completely change your whole life and environment and to come into our environment and to learn some of our rules and regulations and how our services are delivered and to even hear a lot about the gospel or to hear a lot it almost feels like you're back in school. That's what some of our guys describe the
Hmm.
experience to be. And so that transition in can be really hard, especially if you're withdrawing and you are not feeling well on top of that. So we try our best to support our guys and to make sure that people are looking out for them. And what I love about this environment is that not only are the staff really savvy in supporting our clients through their journey, but we also just have a healthy community. We work really hard for every client and staff and volunteer and everyone within our current community to ensure that our guys get the support that they need. So we have other clients that are also looking out for all of those new guys as they walk in the door.
That is great. You've thought of everything. Okay, we're going to take another break and be right back with Adrienne Bumpers. She's the campus director of the Potter's House. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Healthy Living. We're talking with Adrienne Bumpers, who's the campus director of the Potter's House, a Christian-based addiction recovery center in the beautiful side of Georgia, the state of Georgia. Wanted to ask you, Adrienne, you're such an expert on addiction. So many people are addicted today. Are people addicts for life?
They don't have to be. There's help. There's help available. I know sometimes it's hard for somebody who, is really struggling to get to the place where they're ready to make the decision for help. But I mean, we're not the only place that offers what we do, but it's critical. We want everybody to have an opportunity for recovery. And unfortunately, not everybody gets a chance for that because of overdose rates, death rates due to overdose and suicide for those that are struggling with addiction. But we absolutely, it doesn't have to be the outcome anymore. There's help available.
If a person does recover, they stop using the alcohol or the drugs, do they have to avoid that substance for the rest of their lives?
We absolutely recommend full abstinence. It's just really important. I believe that you can create the journey that you feel like is right for you. However, that's what we're going to recommend. We're going to recommend full abstinence of being free from substances. We want you to live a full life. And that full life is free from all of those things that kept you isolated, kept you from being able to be the full person that you are. We believe that Christ absolutely wants that for everyone that comes through our program. And so we are always encouraging that for the path that our clients take forward for their recovery.
When people are admitted to Potter's House, are they already believers?
They are not. I actually just recently heard about one of our clients who came into our program, and he said openly, "I've never had anyone tell me about the gospel. I don't really understand it, and I don't know that I really want to be here because I really don't like all of this." Stuff that you're talking about with the gospel and using scripture and having to do a quiet time and different things. We believe that it is so critical for our work, if nothing else, that we expose you to the message of Jesus Christ. We do not require anyone to make a commitment or to give their life to Christ, but we definitely are going to expose you to the message of Jesus Christ. We're going to give you an opportunity for prayer, for salvation, even for baptism. And we really hope that people can have a transformed life. The work that we do for your recovery is incredible, but your recovery is going to be strongest because of a relationship with Christ. That's what we believe firmly. And so for this client that I just spoke about, he he now is quoting scripture and he is sharing it with his peers. And he is telling them to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And for me, that is an incredible transformation. And we see that often with our guys. Some people come to us because they want to deepen their relationship with Christ, but many come because they just need the help. And the message of Christ gets to be an additional component that really gets to enhance their outcomes for their recovery.
That is wonderful. All right, we're going to take one final break and be right back with Adrienne Bumpers with the Potter's House. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and we're talking with Adrienne Bumpers about the Potter's House, which is a Christian-based recovery center. And unfortunately, we're almost out of time, Adrienne. We only have about a minute left. How can our viewers find out more about the Potter's House, and how can our viewers help with it?
Absolutely. Everything that you would want to know about our organization, you can find it at tphrecovery.org. I'll say that again, tphrecovery.org. You can refer someone to help. You can learn how to be a volunteer, a donor. You can also just learn about the services that we offer and tell others about it.
I really loved going on your website and reading all the testimonials. It was absolutely so inspiring, and it was really interesting to see, how all those different people ended up at the Potter's House, the different paths that they had taken towards their addiction. And it really makes you realize addiction can happen to anybody, but also anybody can recover from it. Thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for your incredible work that you're doing at the Potter's House.
Thank you, Lori.
And thanks to you for tuning into this edition of Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great week, everyone. Bye now.